ಬಂದಿದೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಹಿರಿಯರ ವಾಣಿ, ಹಿರಿಯರೇ ಇತರ ರಾಜ ರಾಣಿ, ಹತ್ತೋಣ ನಾವು ಅವರ ನೆನಪಿನ ದೋಣಿ, ಕೇಳುತ್ತಾ ಖುಷಿ ಪಡೋಣ ಹಿರಿಯರ ವಾಣಿ, ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಖುಷಿ ಪಡೋಣ ಹಿರಿಯರ ವಾಣಿ, ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಖುಷಿ ಪಡೋಣ ಹಿರಿಯರ ವಾಣಿ. ಇದು ಹಿರಿಯರ ಕತೆ ಹಿರಿಯರ ಜೊತೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹಿರಿಯರ ವಾಣಿಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಕೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಇರಿ, ಖುಷಿಯಾಗಿರಿ. Hello listeners, this is your RJ Chandana and I welcome you all to Anubhav, a joint project of National Institute of Social Defence, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India and Media for Community Foundation, implemented by Nightingales Medical Trust. Project conceived by Dr. R. Sridhar, Project Investigator Alok Verma, Coordinators Pooja Murada, Sai Sudha, Kaushalya. Government of India has initiated an elder line toll-free number 14567. Elders or anyone on behalf of elders can call between morning 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for any questions, queries and support to elderly. How do you feel when you hear the word dementia? Worried? Anxious? Fearful? Devastating? Yes, it could break you down. There are many families who came across the situation in recent years. Let's hear from one among them to know what were the initial signs of the disease, what were the challenges they faced, and how did they cope up with the situation. We have Mrs. Vijayalakshmi, who is a primary caregiver of a person with dementia, with us to share her experience.
Hi ma'am, how are you?
Hi Chandana, I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Firstly, thank you so much for making yourself available. We know you are caring for a person with dementia, that's your husband, from quite some time now. We would like to know your experience. So I'm going to ask you 5 questions. You can answer them. First question is, what were the early changes you noticed and when did you decide to go for a diagnosis?
I think in 2018, in November, Ramchandran decided to retire from the services. It was his voluntarily he decided. He was around 63 years old at that time. And the reason was that the office was in 3rd floor and he was not able to climb up. There was no lift and other things. So he wanted to take retirement. He wanted to retire. And which was okay. But only thing, from the beginning, we had noticed that he was not very comfortable being alone at home. So that was the biggest fear. So I used to ask him, how do you plan to spend your time? I will go to work. We are only 2 of us at home. So that was the thing. And then there was no specific answer, but I think a couple of months he enjoyed taking that resting, most of the time resting time and all that, he enjoyed that. But sometime in the month of March, or even little before March, he will be very dull when I come back home, or he will be in the verge of crying, saying that in future don't go to work, I cannot stay alone, get me a job, all that, and they will cry. Crying was little unusual, and initially I said, see, this is why I told you not to retire, and like that, those things were happening. But when this crying was almost on a daily basis thing, we decided that there is something more we need to attend to it. It is just then not the he's not able to manage his time or something like that. That's when we decided, and with the help of my a person who was known to us, we saw a very senior physician, general physician. A lot of tests and all those things were done. MRI was also done, all that. And sometime, then it also increased to crying spells or panic attack, that kind of thing. Then we saw a neurologist and then a psychiatrist. And I think this was going on for about, 1.5 years. And then in between, when my daughter was there at home during delivery, he was completely normal, because there were children. There was her child was there, she was there, I was there at home. So that 4-5 months he was completely normal. And then we decided, on and off this kind of a depressive mood and other things used to be there. So then finally we ended up, going to NIMHANS. Because he was taking medicine and some of the, the symptoms where we were still able to see, was continuing to cry and other things. So we thought, we took him to NIMHANS sometime in month of March 2020. Until then, he was completely, even though these cry spells and other things were there, I didn't find any memory deficit or something. He used to be very willing to go to shops. He used to do everything independently, travel alone, use financial transactions, bank work, everything he used to do himself. In March 2020, we went to NIMHANS, and then they asked us to do a neuropsycho test and then some more blood test and other things. And by the time we finished these tests, but before we could get the result of the neuropsycho test and the next appointment, the lockdown started. The first lockdown started. When the first lockdown started, there was nothing else to do. He couldn't go even to the temple and things like that. He used to sleep nearly 15, 20 hours, 18 hours, 20 hours, like that continuously. And after the lockdown was there, the first appointment, we took him to NIMHANS actually again. And that is how we thought, more, what to say, neurologist or a psychiatrist help is required. And that is how in 2020 is where we went to NIMHANS.
Okay. Thank you. So how was the diagnosis communicated to you by the doctor, and what impact it had on you and the rest of your family?
We were, as I said, we went to NIMHANS. The first day after the lockdown was lifted, the OPD was started. Somehow we managed to get an appointment. And then we went to a psychiatrist department. There, one of the doctors who had our file, he said, see, he has dementia. So please go to this geriatric psychiatrist department. And then he just directed us through a nurse or somebody. He said, just take them there. There we happened to see a very young doctor, and his name is Dr. Adesh Agarwal. And he spent the next 2 hours minimum asking various questions. What do you mean by dull? How it all started? This, that, many things, many repeated questions, and then asking back and forth questions and more explanations, all that. And then he found that, he's on too many medications. He had also seen the, the other medical reports and things like that. And another thing is that some or one of the medicine is not working with him. So that is what he thought it is. He said, we will try this. Something seems to be not working for him. Let us try this. So he tapered down slowly, one after the other. The medicines were stopped. And by the end of June 30th, I think all the neuro medicines were stopped. So for the next 2 months, again, he was completely all right. By then a little bit of this lockdown had lifted up. So he used to go to the shop, he used to go to the temple, all that. But, during one of the visits, when we had to collect the file and then go to give the file to the doctor, that is when I noticed that in this medical file, in NIMHANS medical file, it was written that he has dementia on a, they have some scale, rating scale or something like that, on a 2 or 2.5 on a scale of 5. That is when I think we knew it was dementia. And me and my daughter were, initially it was very shocking, and, why, a lot of questions, and then we went through the complete cycle of, depression, denial, anger, and negotiations, and depression, then finally acceptance, all that. That, at various stages back and forth, we used to go travel. We knew what a long journey we have with him, how it will pan out, all those things. And everything is bookish knowledge. We hear from them or read from some source or something like that. And we knew it was very depressive, a very tough time. And I think that is what has led to us today.
Thank you. So it was very tough time for you, as you said.
Yes.
So how did you navigate through the journey till date? And what has helped you, and what were the challenges? Can you please explain?
Navigation, it's quite a big word, actually, a big thing. I think what we learned over a period of time is that we take one day at a time. That was the biggest learning that we have had, that we can never predict how it is going to be the next day. Initially, how it is going to be the future, then not even the next day, not even the next moment. One moment he'll be very fine, and the next moment he will start some things, he will cry, all that. So, but we knew we lot of all these hard experiences, and just watching him and understanding what he's trying to understand, what he's going through, what he's trying to communicate, all that helped us to come to a stage that yes, we cannot do anything about it, but we can see what we can do better, or how we can adapt to the situation one day at a time, or that moment we are just preparing ourselves and be ready for the next moment or the next thing. Because no two patients are alike, no 2 days are alike, no 2 moments are alike, and everything is very unpredictable. That is what we came to know. I think that's all. Preparing ourselves to be prepared is what is the learning that we have come across. Challenges are the same, like how I said, no 2 days are alike. Every day is a challenge. And there was a time when I think he was also in an early stage where he knew that he was forgetting. He was very helpless. He didn't know what to do. So he always used to keep saying that I want to die. Always that thing was there. I want to die. I want to die, like that. It was very difficult for me to hear that in the first instance, and then try to give an answer which will make him feel better. And in that moment, in that depression, I was also getting into some kind of depression and other things, so it is very difficult to handle. But then slowly, we always, as the experience, as the situation pans out, so we used to tell him, don't worry, this, that, and all that. At some point in time, it was becoming a little manageable for me. He always wanted to jump from the terrace, this, that, and all that. And after that, the stress level became too much for me, because 24/7, I cannot be watching him. And if something happens like this, it was too much of this one. And too much of stress, basically. And that is when we decided to put him in Nightingale for about, he was there in Banaswadi for a while, for about 2.5 months. So that helped to overcome that challenge. And when he came back from there, I think his depression level, or some amount of depression was addressed. So when he came back as a complete different person. He wasn't very aggressive. He was never aggressive, but these are the words he used to say, that I want to die, I want to die, I will die, I will jump from the kitchen, from the terrace, or I used to run to the kitchen to take a knife and things like that. So all these things had completely was not there. When he came, he was more or less a very calm person, but he had a lot of memory issues then. That is when we started noticing the memory. Until then, at least go to the temple, buy 1 or 2 items from one particular shop. I cannot give him 2 jobs at a time. So one job, go to the shop, buy this and come, he was still doing. Go to the temple, come back, he will still do that. So all that he was doing. But I think when he came back, the memory had taken a back step, and this, the other challenges were manageable. So I'm definitely better, when compared to this. I'm okay to have have him less memory than having all those, those issues.
That's nice. Thank you so much. So as you said, Nightingale's residential care facility in a way helped you to cope up the situation.
Absolutely.
That's nice. So what, according to you, is needed for a caregivers to support their challenges? What else?
See, there are, I have come across in this last 1 or 2 years, I have come across a lot of caregiver groups, and most of them online. And there are some video or groups which constantly give some inputs through the video, YouTube video and all that, and counseling. Counseling, I found personally very useful, because they were giving some kind of a support by listening to you and giving some strategies to cope with the situation. This was just to empower myself to handle my emotions and not to handle him. We realized that there is nothing that we can do to, uh, you know, um, bring the changes in him. We had to change ourselves to suit his needs. That is the biggest learning in the last 2 years for us. So we don't tell him anything, you don't do this, you don't do this. So instead we will say that, can we do this? Sometimes I will accept, sometimes he will keep saying the same thing. But I found the counseling was definitely helping. And I was finding it very difficult to accept many changes, because they were talking about how some of the patients were responding or behaving, many behavioral changes, behavioral issues, all that. And that those were very disturbing to me, because that was very scary, what it will be look like in the future and all that. Then I slowly withdrew myself from all those things, but I continued the counseling part of it. And NIMHANS offers the counseling services from the geriatric psychiatry department. They provide one of the doctors whom we were seeing in NIMHANS. He had suggested, he said, see, there is nothing big we can do for him, but for you to take care of him, you need this kind of service. And he said, why don't you take this and all that? And then it went for about 3 months, and I found not that the previous counseling did help me, but these people, since have the background of geriatric psychiatry, they knew exactly how to support and all that. One second, please. Yeah. So how to support, even the strategies or the inputs that they were giving was very relevant to me. It was very, very relevant. But only challenge is, those psychiatrists or whoever it is, they'll keep on changing. They're into different departments. They move from one department to the other department very quickly. So one doctor will come and there will be a disconnect, and then I will remind them. Then they will say that, no, I have moved to another department. So they will connect me to another person. But again, I have to go through the whole history, telling the history and many other things, which is very disturbing me. Every time I have to talk about it, it puts, I go into depressive mood at least for 1 or 2 days and things like that, So that was the biggest challenge. But I think whatever suits people, they should go ahead with. And definitely counseling they should try. And once they try, only they will know what it is, what it entails, or how it benefits them and all that. That will be definitely helpful.
Thank you so much for your time and sharing all your experience. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I hope it is of use to somebody. Anyway, thank you. Thank you, Chandana. Okay.
This program was not to scare anyone. It was just a part of spreading awareness to the society about dementia. An early diagnosis always really helpful to reduce the stress level of a person affected and also the family. Listeners, I hope you too found the program useful and you too feel the same. Stay tuned to Hiriyaravani for more such programs. Government of India has initiated an elder line toll-free number 14567. Elders or anyone on behalf of elders can call between morning 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. for any questions, queries and support to elderly. Bye for now. Take care.